Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, today I'm going to be talking about the Brother P-Touch Embellish Machine, Tula Pink Monkey Wrench Fabrics, Moda fabric panels. I have some photographs to share from our Illinois meetup from yesterday. I'll be reviewing the Quilter's Field Guide to Color. I'll be demonstrating how to sew a zipper at a 90-degree angle, and I have a great giveaway at the end. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday. Hey everyone, welcome to Sewcial Sunday. I saw everyone chatting before the show. Charlie's watching, Cheryl from Boston, Sheila from Fort Worth, Texas. So welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in live, and if you're watching the recording of the show sometime during the week, thank you so much for making time for us during your busy week. I know we're all busy, so thank you for fitting in a little bit of Sewcial Sunday in your week. So just a friendly reminder before I get started, just about everything that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And everything that I'm scheduled to talk about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of the fabrics, notions, books, or projects that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday, just check that link in the description and you can find out more information there. So I don't think I've worn this shirt for Sewcial Sunday before, but when I came down to start getting ready, Danny remarked, "Oh, is that a new shirt?" And he usually does when he notices me wearing something new. And I was like, "No, I made this shirt." And he said, "Yeah, but is it new?" And I said, "When was the last time you saw me make some clothes for myself?" It's been a while. I think I made this for our trip to Disney World, which was 2 years ago. So I've had this shirt for a while. I admit I don't wear it that often. I'm not sure why. It's pretty cute. It's actually a rayon fabric designed by Joel Dewberry. So I like the print a lot. I know it's soon approaching winter, but in the studio, the lights and the cameras, everything's really warm in here. So I feel it's okay for me to wear a shirt like this with no sleeves. But I have some exciting news to share, or at least exciting for me. If you watched our last live show a few weeks ago, you probably heard me say that I was a little bit dissatisfied about the new Sewcial Sunday schedule. We are trying the first and the third Sunday of every month, and I don't know, something about that didn't quite feel right to me. I didn't like having all the weeks off, and I didn't like missing a chance to connect with you every Sunday like we have been doing in the past. And so I talked it over with Danny. I know it seems like a super simple solution, but sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it just takes that long to get the idea to come through. So we've decided to do Sewcial Sunday every single Sunday. What we're going to do is we're still going to do the first and the third Sunday of every month, the full out Sewcial Sunday show. So what you're used to with the book review, the fabrics, the tutorials, the stash, the fabric stash, we're going to have that on the Sundays that happen to be the first and the third Sundays. All of the other Sundays we'll fill in with some other content. So Danny and I will be chatting on set, answering questions like we've done in the past for Ask Sarah, or some other form of content so that we're able to still come to you every Sunday, because I know that schedule was getting a little confusing, and I admit it, I missed you guys on the Sundays that we had off. So I feel really happy about that decision, and I hope you'll tune in every Sunday. And like I said, each Sunday will be slightly different content depending on what Sunday of the month it happens to be, but we'll try our best to have something exciting for you every single Monday. So again, Sewcial Sunday, we'll have next Sunday and the Sundays following that. And yeah, I'm really happy with that decision and excited about that. So 2 more things to tell you about before we get over to the notion of the week. We're having Bag Fest over on Instagram, so it's a daily photo challenge. We started it on October 1st, and I know the month only has a few days left in it, but I hope you'll pop in and see everyone's photos that they've been posting. You can check the hashtags for each day. Each day is a separate challenge, like your fabric stash, take a picture of your fabric stash, favorite sewing book, so challenges were things like that. I've linked to the main post on Instagram, and you can check the hashtags like I mentioned to see what everyone's been posting. And also the Park Sling Backpack Sew Along has just kicked off over in the Facebook group. So you can also click the link in the description to find information on that. That's a 7-week sew along, so plenty of time to choose your fabric and complete all portions of all the tasks and finish your backpack. And we'll have some prizes every week and prizes at the end. And lots of people have already there's no official sign up, but lots of people have started posting their photos in the album. So you can find out more information. Again, click on my link in the description for today's show and you can find out more information there. Bronwyn is helping me host the event over on Instagram, and Michelle Graham is hosting the sew along on Facebook. So it's a team effort, and thanks to both of you so much for all of your hard work. All right, so the notion of the week is not exactly a sewing notion. I have a Facebook friend who recently purchased this gadget and posted photographs of it over on Facebook, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So I thought, since we're all crafty here, I thought I'd share it with you on Sewcial Sunday. It's a little machine made by Brother. They also make sewing machines, but it's called the P-Touch Embellish, and it prints on cool things like I wanted it most for its ability to print on ribbon. So I'm going to jump over to the side camera and show you a little bit about the machine and how it works. All right, so thanks to my son William for getting the machine set up for me because I was running a little bit behind. This is the packaging for the machine, and I purchased it over on Amazon. I've got a link for you in the description. And like I said, the main thing that I purchased it for was its ability to print on ribbon. So you can buy cartridges of ribbon, and some of them have metallic printing, like this navy ribbon right here. This is gold metallic, I guess ink that it prints on there. I've got the machine loaded up with this light pink with gold, and it actually comes with one cartridge. So the cartridge with ribbon that the machine comes with is white ribbon, and I'm sure you can probably see that that's gold imprinting on there. So it was not too difficult to set up. I kind of watched out of the corner of my eye as my mom and William were setting the machine up. William set it up for me so far, so I'm just going to go ahead and type something on here really quick. So I'm going to type Sewcial Sunday, and you can do lower letters, capital letters, you can do 2 lines of text, whatever you like. So I'm just going to do Sewcial Sundays, just Sunday. That sounds good. Print 1 copy. So as you can see, it's starting to print out my ribbon right there. It checks to make sure that it's printing out okay, so it's asking me on the machine feed okay. Just going to type okay, and then it tells you please cut. So all you have to do is push this button in to cut the ribbon. So as you can see, really quick and easy, printed out Sewcial Sunday. You can choose how long the length of the ribbon is at start and stop. So in case you want to tie it around a gift or something and you need a little bit of extra length to the ribbon, or if you just want it to repeat the same text over and over, you can save different things in the machine. Let me show you a few of the other things William printed out for me. And I wanted to show you one that he printed out that was 2 lines of text. So he printed this one out. It says Happy Halloween. So granted, the text is smaller because you've got 2 lines there, but there's lots of different options as far as the ribbon goes. And I thought it would especially be really cool for bridal showers, baby showers, because I know a lot of people like to do DIY type of favors and gifts for the showers. So I could envision people using these. You may not want to have ribbons custom made, but you could certainly have a machine of your own and print out your ribbons, tie them around gifts, Christmas gifts, or what have you. So again, I thought this was a really neat gadget. It's called the P-Touch Embellish. That's the one that prints ribbons, and they also sell extra ribbon cartridges like the ones that I showed you at the start of the Notion section. Again, I've linked to that in the description, and yeah, I thought it was super, super cool. So Danny's favorite part of the Sunday show, we'd like to invite all the bag ladies and bag dudes to stand proud. Let us know. I'm certainly a super proud bag lady, and we're so happy that you're part of our bag making community, and we have some more pictures a little later on in the show just to give you some examples of what a great community it is. I haven't been sewing a lot. I normally like to share sewing projects on Sewcial Sunday, recent sewing projects. So I know I showed in the last week a sneak peek of one of the 4 new patterns that I'm writing over on Instagram and Facebook. So you might have seen the sneak peek of the first project. So I'm going to share a sneak peek of the second project. I'm not going to show the whole project, but I'm kind of going to slide it onto the screen a little bit. So yeah, that's all I'm going to share right now. I'm trying not to place a hard deadline on myself. My birthday is coming up at the end of November, so I'm kind of shooting for around my birthday for the release of the 4 new patterns and videos, but we'll see how it goes because I don't want to, I want to have a nice holiday season and a fun birthday, and if they're not quite ready yet, they'll be out a little bit after that.
Christmas.
So Christmas, Danny says, no, everyone
That's
needs,
right after your birthday.
yeah, I know. Everyone needs a little bit of time at least for the Christmas sewing, so I'll do my best, I promise. I also wanted to share with you this cute little project that Trisha Baldwin made. I guess it's okay to show the pictures now. Yeah, why don't we show the pictures now from the Illinois meetup, Danny? So yesterday, the Illinois Sew Sweetness group met over in a suburb of Chicago. We had lunch. We went shopping at a quilt shop. They were so nice because we got there basically when the store closed, and they stayed open for us to do our shopping and get all of our goodies and fabric cut. And so it was a lovely time. I think we had, how many people would you say, Danny? Maybe 25 people, 30?
She said she made 32 of those.
Yeah. Okay, so about 30 people went to the event. It was a lot of fun. Trisha Baldwin hosted, and Danny and I showed up with the kids. Trisha made for everyone a name badge holder with a modified version of the I Spy pouch from Minikin Season 1. So clearly this is much smaller than the pouch that was in that pattern bundle. Trisha modified it so that it would fit an ID, a printed ID tag. And she made one for everyone, and also thanks to Susan Brownlee from New Zealand. Trisha said Susan helped her come up with the measurements to make this smaller, and Trisha provided pins for everyone, safety pins, or if you wanted to wear this around your neck. So I thought this was super cool. If you're at some sort of event where you collect business cards, there's also room in here behind your ID badge to put lots of business cards and other things inside. So thank you to Trisha. Making 30 of these was a lot of work, but they turned out super cute. This is Danny's. I've got mine in my purse, and definitely I will be saving this to use for going to future events for my name tag. So I have a question for you. Let me know, have you modified a bag or a pouch before? So this was definitely a modification of the I Spy pouch. Let me know if you usually, or if you've ever modified a bag or a pouch. Maybe you've made it smaller, larger. Hopefully it went well for you and you were happy with the new size. I see people modify bags and pouches all the time, not just for different sizes, but to add extra features that the original pattern didn't come with. So I love seeing different modifications. I like when people are able to personalize their bag and make it useful or convenient for them to use. So yeah, I'll be looking after the show through the comments. I see a lot of yeses come through, so lots of modifications being made. So I have 2 sets of fabric to show you that I've added to my fabric stash. I admit I've been a little bit naughty and purchased a lot of new fabric lately, but I've been saving the rest of that for future Sewcial Sunday shows. So I'm going to jump over to the side camera and show you both of those fabric bundles that I've purchased. Okay, so the first one, let me grab my big bundle over here. So the first one is Tula Pink's latest fabric line. It's called Monkey Wrench, so it features, of course, monkeys and bananas in the fabric. So let me show you the main print first. So the main print comes in 3 different colorways. I didn't purchase every single fabric from the line. I'm not sure why. Probably because I'm running out of room in the sewing room for all the different fabrics that I've been purchasing, but I really especially love the black and white prints. Tula's known for her bright colors, and so I feel like it was really welcome seeing the black and white, and the ladybugs look really great in the black and white as well. This one's a little bit of an off-white color, so it's not a bright white, it's more of a cream, but it still looks super cool. And I also purchased 2 of the coordinating prints in all 3 colorways. So I really liked this smaller floral print. Let me push those over right there. And then this one has frogs in it in the vines, and I thought that one was super cute also. And I love the bright colors. As always, there's her trademark bright colors. So this one was called Monkey Wrench. And I have a second fabric to show you as well. This is actually, it comes in panels. So I bought the sampler panel pack, and there's also bigger panels, like for instance if you want to use a panel for a quilt backing, but I thought these would be really interesting for bags. There's also a companion project pattern booklet. I didn't purchase that one, I just purchased the patterns, but if you need some ideas for what to make with these panels, there's a pattern booklet available as well. These are the 4 that came in the pack, and they're actually canvas fabric, so really great for bag making. And they're actually maybe I can pop over to the main camera to show you these in real life, I guess. Thank you, Nanny. All right, so this one's right here. Create your own sunshine. Good things are going to happen. This one says, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always believes, love never fails. So that's a rather famous poem that I've heard at weddings pretty often, I guess. And there's 2 more panels, and this is like a black print on a cream, and it's a thin canvas, so nothing heavy. So here's another one, Amazing Grace. I'm not going to read that whole thing. I think you get the idea. And then let me show you the 4th print right here. I'll hold it up for just a second so you can get situated with all the text on there. So as you can see, the panels are a good size, but I thought some of them would be great for either a large tote bag or a wall hanging, perhaps in the sewing room. So I was really excited. I'm always into text prints, and the fact that this is something a little bit different. And like I mentioned, they have larger sizes for the quilt backings as well. That's by Moda, and I've linked to both Monkey Wrench and that Moda panel set in the description in case you're interested in checking those out. We already showed the photos for the meetup, and so it's time. I was most excited tonight to talk to you about tonight's book review. So this book comes out on Tuesday. I did purchase an advance copy. The publisher's Lucky Spool. The publisher was selling a few advance copies on their website, so I did pay full price happily. I happily paid full price for this book, and luckily it showed up yesterday just in time to review it on tonight's show. But this is one of those books that I highly recommend you get your own copy rather than one from the library, and I'll show you why in just a second. But it's called The Quilter's Field Guide to Color by Rachel Hauser, and I just thought it was super brilliant. So I'm going to jump over to the side camera and show you a few pages out of the book and basically give you a gist of what's going on with this book. So I get questions pretty often, how do I choose fabrics for a bag? And even though this book is called The Quilter's Field Guide to Color, I feel like this would also be helpful for us bag makers as well. So the whole entire book talks about fabric selection. It's over 100 pages. There's one really short project in there, but other than that, it's just discussing how to choose fabric for your project. So the best part about this book, first off, there's a little envelope in the back. There's swatches printed on cardstock, color swatches, and these swatches are meant to be cut out and saved in that little envelope because there's a whole bunch of exercises in the book, and the point of the exercises is to use those swatches. So I will show you some of my favorite pages, or the most important pages that I thought from the book. So the book explains from the beginning the swatch library in the back, and this is what the swatches look like. All the swatches have names to them, and while you're reading in the book and going through the exercises, anytime a swatch color is mentioned specifically, it's printed in bold font, and they talk about that in the book so that you can sort of see some of the examples and reference the swatches before you get over to the exercises. So I thought that was brilliant. There's all different combinations of colors that are talked about in the book. I think warm versus cool is something that most people are familiar with. This is a quilt made with warm colors. This is a quilt made with cool colors, and they again talk about specific color swatch colors from the back of the book. The book doesn't just talk about different colors, it gives you an opportunity to try it. So each section gives you information, and then it's your turn to try your hand because it's all about your creativity. The book isn't telling you, okay, you're going to use turquoise, raspberry, and plum together. The book is encouraging you to exercise your brain and get your creativity flowing. So the section's talking about transition colors. I thought this was interesting, and I didn't think about it before. I'm just going to read you a little blurb. Although purple and green are often considered cool colors, in practice they are quite flexible. Look at this chartreuse fabric compared with the emerald green one. Chartreuse is a yellow-green, so it appears warmer than the emerald green, which is a blue-green. So I thought that was super interesting. And also the same way, purple is a color that transitions from warm to cool. Compare this magenta fabric to a plum print. So magenta is bright purple red and it feels warmer, and the plum is a cooler color. So I didn't know that. That was interesting to me. And here's an example of one of the exercises. So that section that I just referenced talks about warm and cool. So it challenges you to get out your swatches, find a purple swatch that you think is warm, and find a purple swatch that you think is cool, and same thing for the green one. So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you see and feel, what feels right to you. So thought that was really cool. Colors can also be categorized by seasons. So the examples given in the book: spring right here, summer, that's obviously brighter and happier, more cheerful, autumn, and winter colors right here. So again, another way that I didn't think of to categorize fabric choices. And again, here's the exercise for choosing your fabric swatches. And you don't have to glue these in the book or anything. You can just do the exercise, put your swatches back in the envelope, and move on. So a very useful book, and I think it's one of those books that you actually have to go through all the exercises, figure things out, not just read everything, but actually participate in what's going on with the book. So talking about all of these different fabrics, this rainbow runner is a lively, exuberant, ecstatic blend of fabrics. This is the opposite, simple, slow, meditative. That's what those colors bring across. This quilt is considered more of bold choices, and these are sugary sweet fabric choices. So again, I learned a ton going through this book. I haven't completed all the exercises yet, but I'm really looking forward to cutting up my swatches. I wanted to leave them kind of intact for talking about them on the show. Color theory, I think we've all at least seen a color wheel before, but this particular book talks about the color wheel as far as analogous colors, complementary colors, explains what those are. And I'm skipping to different hues of colors: pure hues, pastel, dusty tones, jewel shades. So there's lots of different ways to think about your color choices, working with value, lights, darks, midtones. This book is really a wealth of information, and it also talks about neutrals such as black, white, brown, and gray. So those are also colors that we're using in our projects. So I'm just skipping ahead to different portions, but definitely colors can tell a story. There's a picture right here that I saved. This is a photograph of a room. The author liked the colors in this particular room, so she chose colors from her stash to kind of go along with that photograph, and I think the fabrics that she's chosen really match that photograph, and the samples and that really are illustrated from those fabric choices. Limited fabrics are also talked about for quilts. Limiting fabrics are things like large-scale prints or novelty prints, things like these little octopuses, tiger faces, things like that. For me, those are not limiting for bag making, but those are really the things that I choose first. And here's a demonstration on choosing fabric and all the different combinations that she came when trying to match this photograph over here. So again, I mean, this quilt was absolutely brilliant. There's only one pattern in the book, but I really did not mind that at all. This is the pattern in the book. I was really blown away by the fact that so many different color options were chosen and talked about, and here's different color stories, pink color stories. As you can see, they're totally different. This book was just a joy. Again, the most important feature of the book for me was the swatches in the back, and you want to make sure you get a copy so that you can cut up those swatches and do all of the exercises inside. So I thought this book was great. I admit I knew I was going to be talking about this book for quite a while, so I know we promised Danny was going to be on tonight's show. We're going to move him over to another show because I thought this book was important to show you all the aspects of it, because it was a really, really cool book. And again, it's called The Quilter's Field Guide to Color. Not just for quilters, I thought this was a great book for bag makers as well. So I have another question for you. Do you find choosing fabric for a project easy or hard? I find choosing fabric, for me, super hard. Maybe it looks easy because you just kind of see the finished bag when I make one for a new pattern or video, but I could spend several hours in the room looking at the fabric wall, trying to decide what two fabrics will go together, maybe what fabric should go with what core color or the lining, some other things that I have to think about. Will the fabric photograph well for my step photos and for the videos that we provide? So there's a lot of other things that I have to keep in mind. If you're making bags for custom orders, perhaps you have to keep your customers' tastes in mind as well. So lots of things that we have to think about when choosing fabrics before we get to sewing. My demonstration tonight is a super quick one. It's how to how to sew a zipper at a 90-degree angle. So there's a few patterns that I do sew a zipper at a 90-degree angle, such as the Clyde Bank tote. And I was talking to Michelle Graham recently, and she told me that she sews hers a little bit differently, and she showed me a picture of hers. And if you're a quilter, this is going to look really familiar. I'm going to jump over to the side camera and show you really quickly Michelle's method for sewing a zipper at a 90-degree angle. So before we get started, let me show you how I, in the past, was sewing my zipper at a 90-degree angle. So the reason that you would sew a zipper at a 90-degree angle, if the pattern calls for it, is if you want this end of the zipper not showing in the top of your bag or pouch. So how I was doing it in the past is I was just orienting my zipper tape at a 90-degree angle, bar tacking a few stitches back and forth, and that's what I was using in my pouches. Michelle showed me her alternate modification for this, and if you're a quilter, that probably looks to you like quilt binding. So when Michelle first showed me, I was like, that definitely looks like quilt binding. So I sewed one up really quickly before the show. It was really easy to do. So you just fold the ends of the zipper down, and that can be for the start or I suppose the end of the zipper, although that zipper stop might get in your way. So I folded the ends of the zipper down. Let me show you with a brand new zipper that I brought along for the demonstration. All right, so I'm going to fold the zipper down. You may want to fold it down past that metal zipper stop so that you don't have to deal with that. But you fold it down, and this is the wrong side of the zipper right here that's showing. And you just sew across it at a 45-degree angle, and you don't need to sew over the zipper teeth at all, and you'll do the same thing for the opposite end. Again, where I'm drawing, you'll just be sewing at a 45-degree angle. So this is a little triangle, a little square. You're just sewing from corner to corner basically. And this is what the finished zipper looks like from the wrong side. And then when you fold the zipper tape back, you have a nice edge for sewing the zipper into your pouch, and then the zipper teeth stop and you don't see extra end of zipper showing. It looks nice and tidy in your finished zipper pouch. So thanks to Michelle Graham for showing me that photo. There's usually a few ways to get a certain technique accomplished, and as far as that 90-degree zipper, there's at least 2 different ways to do it. So Michelle's way was super easy. I don't know why I didn't think of that before, but we thought it would be helpful to show you as far as some projects we're working on, and like I mentioned, a few of the patterns that I've come out with this year, such as the Clyde Bank tote. So I'm going to be answering some questions live. If you have a question for me, let me know in the comments. So type it in your comments on YouTube or Facebook right now. Danny will be putting a few questions on the screen in just a minute. I'll answer as many questions as I can live. First, I wanted to announce the winner of last show's giveaway. The last show's winner was Melanie Schneider, so congratulations to you, Melody. I've contacted Melody on social media, and we've got your prize and excited to send it off to you. So congratulations again to Melody Schneider. Again, I mentioned earlier, Danny was supposed to appear on tonight's show. We're going to hold off for another show because I knew that book review was going to be really in-depth. So I promise he'll be on another show shortly. All right, Danny, how about some questions? Danny's, no? All right. So some things that I'm working on, I guess for the rest of the year. We're working on getting some new SVG files for you for things like the purse tabs and some of our other free projects like the Suffolk coin purse. I'm working on 4 new patterns. We have purse hardware coming actually this week. Purse hardware in 4 different finishes, so silver, rainbow, rose gold, and gunmetal. So super excited about that. The kids, actually our kids have not been in school for the last week and a half because we live in Chicago and the teachers have been on strike. So looks to be no school for tomorrow, so they will be busy bagging up purse hardware in little bags of 4 and 2. So they're very excited about that, right, William? Yes. All right. Colleen says, Sarah, where are the baskets behind you from? I'm looking for some storage for fabrics. So I purchased these wire baskets on, let me see if I could pull one down. All right, these are from Amazon. They're available in a few different sizes and finishes. I chose I think this was the gunmetal finish. Let me see if I could find my ruler to measure. I don't remember off the top of my head what size they were. They're about 9 inches long, 8 inches tall, and about 11 and a half. So 11 and a half this way. So they're pretty long on in this direction. And I think they're just great. I try to put like a rainbow color scheme of my blenders and solids. So I've got all my green fabrics in here. Try to keep them as folded as nicely as possible. Kate says, where did you display your awards from your horse competition? So that's a good question. Actually, the ribbons from the horse show that I competed in September, they're still on display at the stable in the office area. You should see it. It's like wall to wall, 4 walls full of ribbons that everyone has won. So I don't have the ribbons quite yet, but I did win a saddle pad also, and I've got that in the sewing room. So looking forward to displaying them on the wall and making them look nice and pretty. Wendy says, I would like to know more about the pattern for your shirt. Oh, I made this a few years ago. It was made, let me think about that for a second because the name's escaping me right now, because I made a couple different shirts similar to this. The one that I'm wearing is kind of like a racerback style shirt, and another shirt that's similar looking was a different pattern designer. That one was the Grain Line. I know the designer was Grain Line. Let me get back to you on that one though. Dana says, could you give us the measurements of the name tag size I Spy pouch? Such a great idea. Let me check with Susan Brownlee and Trisha and see if we can get some sort of pattern hack for this in the Facebook group, because I think this is really handy. So let's see what we can come up with as far as getting you some of that information for that name tag holder, because that was really clever. Cheryl says, are you going to get the new Tula Pink fabric? Unfortunately, I did not order that monkey wrench fabric that I just showed you, but I did link to a shop that carries it in case you're interested in it. We are actually, to be completely honest, I love the fabric, but we were looking at houses and we had a contract on a house right when the fabric was supposed to be shipping. The contract fell through, but I thought it was kind of bad timing. I didn't want to order so much product and then we're having to have it delivered to our old house and then moving it to our new house. So her new fabric that's coming out next year that's called Homemade will definitely amazing. It's full of sewing machines, rotary cutters. She just showed it this weekend at a trade show and it's called Homemade. Super amazing. Karen says, can we see more sneak peeks of the coming soon pattern bundle? Possibly. I might show you on a future Sewcial Sunday. I'm kind of stuck on the last 2 patterns out of the 4 because I had a specific design in mind. So I have my purse hardware manufacturer coming up with some custom hardware for it to make it work out, but they're working on that still, so I'm kind of on hold. I'm on hold for now, but I'll show you some more sneak peeks in the future for sure. Teresa says, do you know if the printed ribbon from earlier on the machine is washable? Where's my box real quick? Let me check. William, can you do me a favor? Can you see if there's any information on if this ribbon's washable? My son William's sitting offset, so he's gonna check for you real quick. Terry says, I have a yard of 100% wool. Could I use that for an exterior fabric of a bag? Definitely. I'm not sure how thick your wool is, but I've made a couple of wool bags. They are not in the sewing machine the sewing room right now. I made a Polaris bag with Harris tweed wool, and I also made a Tudor bag with a wool that my friend Bronwyn sent me. So that one's a thinner wool. I still use the interfacing for both of those bags as called for in the pattern, but yeah, wool definitely makes a really lovely handbag. Marilyn says, have you ever tried a gel plate and making fabric with it? I have not. I'd be interested to do that though. It sounds really interesting, and I did a lot of printmaking in college, not onto fabric, just onto paper, but it was something that I really enjoyed. Probably one of my most favorite classes in college. So yeah, maybe if I can find someone to teach me, or if I can find some information on how to do that, I'd love to give it a shot. Charlie says, is the ink color for the ribbons included in the ribbon cartridge for the P-Touch? Yeah, so the cartridges that I got, let me grab a couple of them. So it's satin ribbon, and it comes with, so you can't change the color that's printed on the ribbon. So this particular ribbon is a white ribbon with black printing, so it'll come out white ribbon with black printing. This one was navy with metallic gold, and I have the light pink one with the metallic gold, which I showed you on that ribbon that I printed out of the machine. So they come in different color combinations, I guess you could say. So it prints out as is, but obviously you can choose the cartridges that you like depending on what your needs are. Stephanie says, can you talk a little more about that pink seatbelt strap that you made from Tula? That was neat. So if you were watching our daily photo challenge on Instagram, or if you saw the photos on Facebook, I believe it was a few days ago, we posted photos of a tortoise bag and a emblem duffel bag that I made with seat belts for the straps. So the seat belts were actually hot pink. I don't have those bags with me. I don't know, Danny, can you pull those up really quick, or would that be a hassle? No? Okay. Actually, Tula sent me the fabric and the seat belts to make those bags for her booth at Quilt Market a few years back. So I don't even know where she found the seat belts from. The seat belts that I used were wider than I like to use for straps, so they were 2 inches wide, but I used them because they looked so spectacular, and the seat belts were really thick, like legit seat belts, obviously. But the bags turned out great, and the hot pink seatbelt straps is not something that you see every day. So if you missed that, the photos are on Instagram, or you can find that on the Facebook page as well a few days back. Wanda says, Sarah, do you ever use stretch fabric to make handbags? If so, what type of bags? I have in the past. I made at least a few backpacks with stretch knits or jersey knits, what have you. To take the stretch out of the fabrics before using them for the bags, I just interface them with a bit of Shapeflex interfacing. So because the Shapeflex interfacing is a woven interfacing, it takes the stretch right out from any knit fabrics or fabrics with stretch or drape that you need to kind of smooth out a bit so that you can work with them in a bag without tearing your hair out. So again, just fuse the Shapeflex on the wrong side of your knit fabric. And another helpful tip for that, you might consider using your pattern pieces to cut out the Shapeflex, and then ironing or fusing that pattern piece cut out of the Shapeflex onto the wrong side of your fabric, and then just cutting around the Shapeflex. So that's a quick and easy way to get your knit fabrics cut out without having to deal with the fabric rolling or other things like that. Sherry says, will you be doing any quilting tutorials? So I would love to do some. I did just one in the past for a paper piece quilt. I guess the bag ideas have really taken over. You have no idea what it's like to go to sleep at night, and I have, every few days I have like a new idea for a bag or a pouch. Oh, that would be really great. And then of course I have a backlog of projects that I want to get to. So I'm always open to doing quilty things. I've been collecting quilt patterns. I feel like I need to start making one maybe around the holidays, maybe around winter break I can start on a quilt. So we'll see. I'll let you know if something's on the horizon as far as the quilt tutorials. Corey says, will zippers that are out of stock be coming in soon? Yes, we have those on order. So we recently brought in zippers by the yard with zipper pulls, and we started running out of a few of the colors. We do have the rainbow zippers in stock though, but we should have those in shortly, and we'll let you know on the show and on social media as soon as we get those back in. Diana says, what can cause skip stitches when using heavy stabilizer like Peltex? There's a few things that can come into play. Sometimes if your needle's dull, swapping out for a new needle, that can help. Perhaps your machine needs a little bit of extra assistance, like maybe using a walking foot instead of your regular foot that you were using. Usually the adhesive in Pellin interfacings like Peltex don't cause the needle to gum up in the adhesive. Usually those are great to sew with as far as bag making and other things. So I would try both of those things first and see if your stitches are still skipping. You can always test on a small scrap of the fabric with that interfacing that you are using. If you're trying to test things out, maybe you need to adjust your tension or things like that. Yes, William. Did you find some information about the washing? It doesn't say you can't? Okay. As far as the ribbons that I showed you from the P-Touch machine, William says it does not say in the instructions that you can't wash them, but of course you might want to test the little piece first. And my thoughts are, as far as the washing the ribbons, they come out of the machine really nice and crisp, and I'm assuming washing them would make them softer or not as, they weren't stiff, but like I said, they were nice and crisp. So the washing, I'm assuming, would affect that. Perhaps hand washing would be okay, but you want to probably test that out first before washing a finished item that you might be attached to. Terry says, could you use that zipper technique when the pattern calls for a veered zipper end? Yeah, you sure could, like in the cotton candy pouch or other patterns where I veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric. For the front of the zipper at least, yes, you could use that method that I showed you for the sewing the zipper, kind of like quilt binding. Jess says, if I bought a bag pattern from you without the video, am I able to get the video later on? Yes, we have the videos available in the shop for all the patterns that we have videos available for. And you can just choose video only from the drop-down box, and you can purchase the video by itself. Brenda says, where can good vinyl be purchased? So if you're looking for glitter vinyl, or we have some neutral colors of faux leather, which can also be considered vinyl, we have those up at sewsweetness.com in the shop. The cork's also listed there as well. I try to focus on at least thinner vinyls that are easier for all sewing machines to handle. So if you're looking for a thicker fabric like marine vinyl, we don't have that, but we have thinner vinyls in the shop. Cindy says, I'm wanting to make a large laundry bag without a drawstring at the top. Would you be able to make a pattern for one that wouldn't take too long to sew with perhaps a hanging hook or side handles? That's a great idea. Actually, Violet has, it was store-bought, but for Violet's birthday, I got her a laundry bag for washing her stuffed animals, and so it's basically a canvas bag with a zipper on the top, and so it's, the purpose of it is to keep the stuffed animals safe, like the eyes and the noses and things like that, and also to make them look fluffy when they come out of the laundry. So I'd certainly be up for making a laundry bag either with canvas or with a with mesh fabric, maybe with a zipper at the top. Yeah, I'd be open to doing something like that in the future. Elisette says, do you know the name of the blue leaf fabric bag behind you? So this was a fabric designed by Jen Hewitt for Cotton and Steel, and it has, besides the lovely fern print, all the gold portions are actually metallic, so I really love this fabric. And it came with a coordinating print. I don't know if I purchased the coordinate. Let me check real quick. There was a coordinating print that was really nice, that was gray with some of those same ferns and metallics, also looking very nice, but the blue is definitely my favorite. So again, that was Jen Hewitt for Cotton and Steel. I don't remember the fabric line, sorry. Colleen says, the Rockstar pattern on your site says out of stock, will it be back? It shouldn't be out of stock since it's PDF. I'll check after the show. I know we recently had paper patterns for that one. We don't have paper patterns any longer, so that might be what it is, but I'll double check that for you after the show. Shannon says, have you ever used a steam press iron, the long flat irons that you pull down a lid on? And if so, do you have any recommendations? I actually do not, although I know a lot of the lovely bag ladies and bag dudes in the group have them. I know Christina has one of those steam presses. The only reason I don't have one is because we have quite a small sewing area. I just don't have the counter space to have a steam press, but I'd love to have one in future if I had a bigger sewing room, but that's okay. My iron that I use is fine, but if you're a member of the Facebook group, you might want to ask over in there for recommendations on which brands that people like. Mickey says, would you ever do a cruise with your classes? I'd love to do a cruise. Would you like to go on a cruise, Danny? Yes, especially a Disney cruise, because, you know, I'm really into Disney. Maybe someday. Yeah, you never know. Anita says, can you use prong studs for show only on bags? I've never personally used, I guess, decorative rivets like, pointy or stud looking. I'm not sure if I've seen any. Have you seen any around Facebook, Danny, in the Facebook group? If you've used different type of rivets or decorative ones with pointy edges or anything, let me know. Maybe mention in the comments or drop me an email. I'd be really curious to see if people are using other types of rivets for their bags. Alex says, what do you think about using Minky for bags or backpacks for a fuzzy look? I think it's really cool. I know there's a lot of character looking backpacks, at least store-bought ones that I've seen that are animals or characters that are really fuzzy and soft fabric. I'd love to see one in Minky. I haven't done it myself, but if you do, let me know, because I'd be the first that would want to see that. Marilyn says, do you carry suede? We actually do not. Although I can recommend Shannon Fabrics makes a faux suede that's really nice to sew with and available in lots of colors. Again, the manufacturer is called Shannon Fabrics. You might be able to find some on Etsy or at your local fabric shop though, and they also make Minkies. Kim says, clear vinyl for the I Spy pouches. What is the thickness that you've used? So I've used 8 gauge and 12 gauge before for a project that's getting a lot of wear and tear, like the I Spy pouch. I'm envisioning lots of school supplies going inside and things like that. If you feel like you have a trustworthy sewing machine, I would say go with the 12 gauge. If your machine tends to not like tons of layers, the 8 gauge is fine as well. It still gives you the clear see-through window, but with a slightly less thickness than the 12 gauge. Susan says, have you ever considered offering acrylic bag bottoms for some of your bag patterns for those of us who haul way too much around in our bags? It's an interesting thought. I guess it would depend on how many different dimensions for the bottoms that I'd have to have. So I guess I'd have to look into that. I haven't considered that before. It's an interesting idea. I admit for the bags that I feel that I need to have a sturdier bottom, I've made false bottoms in the past with a bit of corrugated plastic. And I do have a video on my YouTube channel in case you're interested in finding out what exactly that is and you just want to look for on the So Sweetness channel how to make a false bottom. Monique says, any tips on sewing with mesh? I would like to make mesh zippered bags for produce shopping as Christmas gifts. So we do have a pattern in Minikin Season 2. It's kind of a combination pattern. So it's a pattern for a grocery bag and a reusable grocery bag, and there's an add-on portion to that pattern for mesh drawstring bags. So they're not zippered bags. That's all I have as far as like a completely mesh bag so far, but kind of a tie into the previous question about the laundry bags with a zipper. I think it would be interesting to have one with an option for mesh with a zipper on the top. So that's certainly something I can write down and investigate for the future. Susan says, do you ever use Decovil? I'm thinking maybe you meant Decovil instead of foam. So I have used Decovil. The Decovil Heavy is a little, if that's what you meant, the Decovil Heavier is a little bit different than the foam interfacing. The Decovil Heavy is kind of similar but not really to the Peltex. So it's a really nice thickness, but it's not quite as lofty as the Pell & Peltex. I like using it for really firm bags or if I want a stiff bottom if the bag's going to be holding a lot. So Decovil makes Decovil Heavy and Decovil Light. Decovil Light is, I haven't used it a whole lot. I've used Decovil Heavy though a lot for, like I said, especially for a firm bottom. Charity says, do you need a rivet press to install rivets? You do either a tabletop press, which is what I have, or you can, yes, you can use a handheld press. Danny's mentioning Chicago screws, which I was going to mention also. If you don't have a rivet press or don't want to invest in one right at the moment, Chicago screws are a great alternative, and they give the same look as rivets, but you install them by screwing them in. So I like using double capped rivets, and double cap just means that it has the cap on the front and the back, so in case it's showing in your lining, it still looks nice. The Chicago screws have the capped look on one side, and then obviously the other side of the hardware is has the markings for screwing the screw together. And I do recommend using a little dot of glue in the Chicago screws before you screw them in place so it's more or less permanent. Sandra says, Sarah, would you be able to show the different lining techniques sometime, such as the drop-in lining, etc., including Peltex for a stronger bottom? Sure. I know I've talked about a little bit about different lining types before, but I didn't actually show partially finished bags, so I think that would be something interesting to show in the future if I happen to have maybe be in the middle of making several bags, and I can show you those different linings. I would be happy to do so. And Cynthia says, cruise a bag a day classes. That's a great idea. Cynthia, I know you're up for going cruising somewhere nice and warm. Yeah, I've never been on a cruise. I guess I'm a little nervous if I would get seasick, but I'm always open for trying something at least once. Barb says, I've been considering using balsa wood for some bag bottoms. I haven't tried that before, but that's really interesting. And let me find my pen. I'm going to write that down too. Something to investigate. Renee says a sewing retreat would be nice too, with a large enough building for our machines. Yeah, we haven't done a sewing retreat in a couple. Did we do, what was it, last year, Danny? Yes. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been about a year. Kind of miss it. So I don't know. We'll see what we can do. All right, lots of good questions tonight. Thank you, everyone. Do you have a video on how to use rivets? I do. If you search for it either on my website or on my YouTube channel, you can probably just type in rivets and that video should come up, I believe. Rolanda said, I made a false bottom with a box inside of a plastic bag and I used Chicago screws for the bag feet to keep it in place. Oh, that's a really great idea. Nothing worse than the insides of your bag shifting around while you're using it. Tamara says, I love your method with binding for mesh pockets with zippers like in the amethyst bag. Thank you, Tamara. And we do have, that's another of our free videos on the YouTube channel. Zippered mesh pockets, I think, is what you should search for if you're looking for that particular video. Alex says, Sarah, get Tula to cruise with us. Yeah, I would love to go on a cruise with Tula. She's a whole lot of fun. She's very entertaining. I feel like we're kind of opposites, but in a good way. I'm the silent partner and she's the talkative one, and she's just fantastic. I love her so much. All right, Danny's calling it on the questions for tonight, so I apologize if I did not get to your question on the show. You can reach me at any time though, Sarah@sewsweetness.com, and that's Sarah with no H. So our giveaway for tonight is, by the way, Tula Pink fabric is 40% off. We're trying to clear out some of the Tula Pink fabric. I way overbought, so we'd like to make a little bit of room for the hardware that will be coming next week, and so check that out. The link's in the description for the 40% off Tula Pink fabric. And so I decided to give away a Tula Pink bundle. These are all 1 yard pieces, so 5 yards in the bundle, and we're kind of making this a rainbow giveaway prize pack. So we're going to be giving away some of the rainbow zippers by the yard, as well as some pretty zipper pulls to go with that. One lucky winner will win all those things, the fabric, the zippers, and the pulls. All you have to do to be entered into the giveaway is to let me know the answer to this question. What are your favorite 2 fabric colors to put together? So my 2 favorites are perhaps turquoise and pink. I love using turquoise in bags. I haven't always been a pink girl, but as far as sewing, I love using pink fabrics when I'm sewing. So let me know the answer to that question. We'll choose one randomly drawn winner, and we'll announce the winner of tonight's giveaway on next Sunday's show, because we're going to be doing Sewcial Sunday every Sunday now. Yay, I'm so excited about that. So we'll see you next Sunday for Sewcial Sunday. Have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.